If you want to grab our men's lifestyle supplement and male advantage ebook, all links are in the bio. What can I do? My time's run out. If I put 10 years into a business, I'm going to be 50. That's going to be too late. It's not necessarily true, okay? It's a silly way to think about things, because you will get, if you take that mentality and go, fuck it, I'm 40, my life's finished. When you get to 50 and your life is probably worse, because you'll be in the same situation but 10 years older, you'll look back and go, damn, I wish I did something at 40. Hello guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be talking about a concept that we all understand, okay? Unless you're younger, but you'll still understand it to some extent. That 25 once felt ridiculously old to all of us. There was a time when I was like 21 years old and I thought, shit, I'm getting old now. Things are turning. Then there was a time when I was like 24 and I was about to turn 25 and I was like, fuck, I wish I was 21 again. If I was 21, I would have done this and that and that. And you're like, God, 25 is old. We're getting on now. I think, like, me and my friends used to have a chat and used to say, look, we're 25. Things are changing. We're getting really old now. You know, and these chats have still come in this year. We're 28. Most of me and my friends, 28, 29. And people are like, oh, it's 30 soon. You know, we're like grown adults. It's been like 10 years since we left school. We're getting so old. Everything feels old at the time of which you're living it. Okay, so the reason I called this video and I said that 25 was once old, 25 once felt old, is because everybody, unless you're younger, knows that feeling. But even if you're younger, I guess 18 felt old at one point. I guess 15 felt old at one point. It's never too late to act, okay? This is the point of this video. Everybody feels old in the moment. Like, fuck, I'm 30 next year. I feel so old. My life's going nowhere. What have I done? Is it too late? Well, guess what, guys? 40-year-old you will sit there and go, damn, I wish I was 30. 30-year-old you will sit there and go, damn, I wish I was 25. 25-year-old you has probably sat there at some point and gone, damn, I wish I was 21. It doesn't stop, okay? So this is why it's so important to use the here and now. And I learned this the hard way when I was growing up. I guess I was like 18, and I remember I'd just left school, college. I went to college in the end, came back. And I was like, right, now it's time to go and get a job. Tried to apply, couldn't really get any jobs. But, you know, I was kind of into fitness. I was in decent shape. And I was like, I should become a personal trainer. Bang, that's it. That's the great idea. I looked at how long it would take to do the personal training course. It was like, I don't know, £600, which I definitely had. And that wasn't a problem. But then they said it would be like a 6-month course. Or something like, it was something along those lines. It was like 6 months, and it, like a long-term course to make sure that you're fully qualified. I can't remember what it was. It was the best one I'd ever seen. I was like, let's go for this one. You were training under somebody who was like a high-level personal trainer for years, trained celebrities and everything. I was like, let's go for it. But then I started weighing up how long it would take. I was like, oh God, 6 months. That's just too long. That's just far too long in the future. And at the time, I think I was like 18, and I was thinking, God, by the time this ends, I will be 19. I'll be like a month into being 19. I need extra money now. I need to do something now. It's going to take too long. What a commitment, driving there every day and back. You know, and I had this lazy mindset of, oh, you know, it's going to be too much. Then 6 months later, I sat there and I was like, fuck, I would have passed that course now. You know, still don't have a job, still bumming around, trying to figure out what to do. And I was like, if I'd done that course, I would now be in a position where I was a fully qualified personal trainer, and God knows where my life would be. And do I feel old? No. Do I feel super young? Yeah. Do I feel like, oh, damn, I wish I was 18 again? Yeah. You know, and I had that effect. So then what do you think I did, guys? Do you think I went, now knowing what I know, I'm going to go and do that course and get qualified? Of course not. I sat there and I was like, well, you know, if I'd done it 6 months ago when I was 18, I was really young then, but now I'm old. Now I'm 19. If it takes another 6 months, I'm going to be like 20. That's 2 wasted years. And I was thinking more about the lost time than the position it would put me in. And so many of us do this in our lives. And I've always regretted that to some extent, because I believe I've done pretty well, right? And I think I've done better than maybe I would have if I was a personal trainer, just because it's limited based on the amount of hours. But what a platform to have shot 1STMAN off of. That would have been unbelievable. And I did do personal training, but I wasn't really qualified. It was just friends and people in the area. So I have done it to some extent for a couple of years, but I wasn't exactly qualified. I was kind of teaching my own type of training. But I wish I got qualified in those 6 months and started something, moved to a bigger city and tried to broaden out my client base, you know, underneath an umbrella of a brand, and then really went for it with fitness. And then when I started doing this, you know, I would have already been in the shape that I'm trying to be in by this time next year, okay? I would have had that in place already. And it's little decisions like that where you go, yeah, but it's going to be 6 months. But when you get to that point, you look back and you go, it would have been done by now. That would have been it. And I'm no better off than I was. And I don't feel much older. Things haven't necessarily changed too much. But we all do this. And it happens more. This a video yesterday, the uni thing, that was for the younger guys. This is very much for you older guys that are watching this. Maybe you're past 35, past 40, maybe even you're in your 50s. It doesn't get better from complaining, okay? You all know this. But to put this into context, let's say you are 40 years old, okay? You hit 40 this year and you sit there and you go, my life is over. My life's over. Like Chris is here talking about all these younger guys and what younger guys can do. I'm an older guy. My life's finished. What can I do? My time's run out. If I put 10 years into a business, I'm going to be 50. That's going to be too late. It's not necessarily true, okay? It's a silly way to think about things, because you will get, if you take that mentality and go, fuck it, I'm 40, my life's finished. When you get to 50 and your life is probably worse, because you'll be in the same situation but 10 years older, you'll look back and go, damn, I wish I did something at 40. And it's very hard to do, guys. It's very hard to tweak your brain and think to yourself, my older self will thank me for it. It's very hard to tweak your brain and think, if I just sacrifice my current years, my next few will be so much better. Because you think about that scenario, if you're 40 and by 50 you become a multi-millionaire, and then from 50 to like 90, you never have to go to a job again. You're traveling around the world. You're spending time with kids, grandkids, whatever. And you've managed to figure all that shit out. And you got in great shape. And to be honest, at 55, you were the healthiest you've ever been. You were in the best shape you've ever been. You looked about 35. And before that, your life was a struggle, but you turned it all around. That's one hell of a position to be in, guys. You know, yeah, let's not beat around the bush. You should have done it at 18. You should have done it at 20. You should have done it, but you should have. It's gone. It's in the past. Okay, you can't change what happens. You can't change the information that's being given to you. Okay, you get things at different times. It is what it is. If you are in a scenario where you are, let's say, 35 this year, and you're going, fuck these young guns. They've got time. I've got commitments. I've got ties. There's a lot of things going on in my life. Do I really want to now dedicate 10 years until I'm 45? That's so old, you know. You will get to 45 as long as you're still in shape and healthy, and you will go, what the hell did I not work on myself at 35 for? Why the hell did I not try and do that business? Why the hell did I not make those 3 or 4 investments and take a gamble? Why the hell didn't I work relentlessly night and day so that from 45 to like 90, which anybody who thinks we're going to live, you know, to like the average age as it is now, are crazy. By the time we get to like 70, 80 years old, the life expectancy is going to be like probably 100, 120. It's going to be a crazy amount. You know, I actually think COVID has something to do with this. The vaccines, I think with the nanogels that they've got in it, I think is going to actually improve humans, but that's for a different talk completely. I don't want to go into that because you could be deplatformed. But anybody who is looking at that cycle and thinking, oh yeah, but when I'm 45, I'm going to be too old. You will sit there at 45 and go, fuck, at 35, I was so young. I had time. I could have done it. Look at the difference I could have had now. My life isn't any better. What did I waste 10 years for? I thought I was old at 35. I thought I was finished. Once you get to these ages, you need to understand, guys, everybody looks at the current age. Okay, so I'm 28 now. I'm looking at 28 and I'm going, God, he's so much older than 21. Yeah, okay, you can look at that 2 ways. You can go, oh, well, you know, why didn't I do this when I was 21? Why didn't I do that? Now I'm 28. Is it too late? Have I wasted all that time? The fact that you're thinking like that means that you will probably again think like that when you're like 40. You will probably look back at 28 and go, why wasn't I putting that time in? Why didn't I do this one thing? Why didn't I make a change then? Especially with fitness. Like, it's very hard once you get past the age of 40, maybe, to be honest, past 35 it gets a little bit more difficult, but past 40 it becomes a lot more difficult to start a fitness journey. So there's a lot of guys who, you know, you'd have to take TRT and stuff like that to restore what a young guy would have, or controlled steroids, maybe testosterone and HGH. That's why so many fitness influencers claim natty or natural, because they believe that testosterone and HGH is naturally in the body anyway, which it is. But then they're using it to such an extent. It's almost like me stealing somebody's arms, putting them on my body, having 4 arms, going into the UFC and becoming like the best grappler. Like, it's technically it's still arms, but it's still cheating. It's the same sort of thing. So you'll need to do that. But at the same time, you need to understand that if you are 35 and you're going, wow, it's too late for me to get in shape, by the time you get to like 50, you'll look back and go, God, at 35, I had so much potential. I could have got in such better shape. Like, everything feels old until you get to that age. Like, I thought 30 was finished. I thought 30-year-old people were so old. Like, when I was growing up, I was like, God, by 30, I'm going to be a billionaire. I'm going to have conquered the world. I'm going to be the perfect man, traveling around the world, all the money that I'd ever want. I'll probably have, you know, kids and everything by then. When I was like 18, that's the way I kind of thought. 10 years later, I'm at 28, and I'm thinking to myself, I feel like 30 is only going to be the start. You know, and I understand that when I'm 40, I'll look back at these videos and I'll be like, look at that stupid 28-year-old Chris who thought he had everything figured out. He knew nothing, but good job he worked his fucking bollocks off every day, because now 40-year-old me is perfectly positioned. He has everything he's ever wanted. And now he never has to answer to anybody ever again, never has to do anything he doesn't want to again. He can wake up on a Monday morning and travel around the world, all because of what you did at a certain age that you once thought was really old. Okay, and it happens at every age. You could be 50 going, fuck, I'm 50, I'm finished. But what scenario do you want, okay? Do you want to then get to 60 and be in the exact same boat but 10 years older? Or do you at least want to do something about it? Do you want to get to 60 and be like, yeah, I don't have a ton of years left on this planet. Maybe we will by that point. Maybe we'll have like 40 still, which is why I really encourage this, because I believe if you kind of sack it off now and think, wow, you know, I'm going to live till 80, I'm 50 next year, I believe that's going to extend a decent amount at some point. But if you get to that point where you are like 50 and you're complaining, thinking you're old, when you get to 60, you'll look back at 50 and think, God, I was so young. But then you'll look at 60 and go, but if I put in 10 years now, I'll be 70. That's really, really old. That's a 20-year difference. You see, that's what happens. 10 ends up turning into 20 if you don't act immediately. And 10 isn't a big gap, but 20 is huge. It just makes sense, guys. Like, if you get to 30 and you think it's too late, well, like I said, in that rule, 10 years to 40 isn't that long, and then you can have an unbelievable life. I think 40 to 50 might be the best years of a man's life. I used to think 30 to 40. I'm starting to change it, because I just think 40 to 50, you have so much freedom, money, maturity. I just think with the youth that we got in this era where we're going to live longer, I think we're going to look 30 in our 40s, especially if we keep ourselves in shape. So I think that's really going to change. But if you are 30 and you're panicking, you're complaining, thinking I'm too old now, it's too late for me to do anything about it. If you don't act in the next 10 years, when you get to 40 and realize that 30 was really young, and then you're at 40 and you're thinking, I can't put in 10 years now because it'll be 50. That's a 20-year gap. That's a 20-year gap from you thinking you were too old at 30 to then sitting there at 50 and going, I've got nothing to show for it. Just don't forget that, guys. 25 once felt old for all of us. Everybody watching this, all of these older guys. You could be 50 tomorrow. 25 once felt old to you. 50 is naturally going to feel old to you. But when you're 60, 50 is going to feel really fucking young. I just think you just need to act when you can. You just need to do what you can today. You know, ideally yesterday, 10 years ago, whatever, but you can't. The best option you have now is today. And as old as you feel today, you're going to feel so much older moving forward. And the age you are today that you currently feel old on, you look back, it's going to feel like a baby. There's so many guys that are like 60 years old that look back and go, God, when I was 40, I was a baby. I had so much time. I had so much, spare time to put into something. I should have done this. I should have built something. Whereas to guys that are like 21 years old, 40 feels like they're dead. Feels like it's a million years away. Don't ever underestimate the current age, okay? Don't ever underestimate it. Don't sit there at like 40 and think, nah, it's too old. It's done. because a 60-year-old would swap places with you like that. Don't ever sit there at 30 and think, oh, my life's over, because somebody who is 42 years old would be like, I'd take 30. You can take 42. Gone. You know, like when I was with my ex-girlfriend, she's 22 now. I'm 28. I used to look back and think, God, if I was her age, what I could do if I was her age. With the knowledge that I'm giving her on a daily basis about business and startups and stuff like that. I'm like, God, if the roles were reversed, I could be a fucking billionaire by 30. Everybody thinks like it. But then there's guys that are 50 that look at me at 28 and go, what a baby. This guy's so lucky. Look, he's got a head start on me. He's got a 30-year head start on me. Wow, what a situation that would be. But then there's guys that are 16 that are in a better position than me. And I'm like, fuck, if I could go back to being 16. It never changes, guys. It doesn't really get better. You just have to act at a certain point. There will always be somebody younger than you, somebody older than you, all fighting for different ages, wanting to be younger, you know, buzzing about being the youngest. Somebody who's old, who wants to be your age. It doesn't change. It doesn't change. And the year that you're looking at and thinking is really old, to someone else is super young, and they regret not taking a chance at that age. So don't fuck up. Don't do what they did and be in regret, okay? Because at the end of the day, you have no other choice. You have no other choice. Do you want to sit there at 50 and do nothing for 20 years, get to 70 and be pissed off? Like if somebody told me you're going to die in 10 years, I'd be like, well, I might as well do something. You know, I might not work on a business, but I'd do something to enjoy my life. I'd really dedicate to something and push it forward and be like, at least it has to be fulfilling. There's no point getting to old age and being like, there was no point. Like, you might as well do something, because the alternative is nothing. So it just makes no sense, guys. Doesn't matter what age you are. You have time. You're far younger than you actually believe you are. Especially any guy under 50, you are so young. So young. There's so many people that are older than you that wish they were 50. Like, to think there's somebody who's 60 who wishes they took an opportunity at 50 because now they're still in a job they hate working every day. You always have an opportunity to change it, but there's no better time than the now. Think about it, guys. If you want to grab our men's lifestyle supplement and male advantage ebook, all links are in the bio.